No, he's not
Giannis
supposed to be
wouldn't
on the
talk to
court.
him. It don't
He's
matter.
not supposed to be on the court.
Giannis talked to him. Forget all that.
No, he was on the court.
So what?
You think he said something? He probably know who his dad is.
Stop it. Giannis said something.
No, because he's on the court in his face.
So what? Everybody on the
you can't
court.
do that.
Yeah, you can.
No,
Everybody
you cannot do that.
Giannis said something to him.
I'm happy for him and I'm happy for his son and I'm happy that he's happy for his son. That's how you're supposed to feel. But coming to me and disrespecting me and cursing at me, I think is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. Okay? And
Giannis told the whole truth on national TV. He didn't hold back at all. He even called out Shaq and Tyrese Haliburton's dad for doing something really crazy. One of the wildest things we've seen from an NBA parent in years.
it's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports. You know, there's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful, some days you're not. Some days it's your turn, some days it's not your turn. And that's what sports is about. You don't always win.
So what did Shaq do? Instead of being honest, he tried to act like that crazy stuff was totally fine. It all began with a championship, a towel, and a grown man running onto the court like he was going to play. But the real shocker? Giannis said something out loud that no one else in the league was brave enough to say.
Having a fan, which at the moment I thought he was a fan, but then I realized it was Tyrese's son, which I love. Tyrese, I think he's a great competitor. He was his dad, sorry. Coming in the floor and showing me his son a towel with his face. This is what we do. This is what we effing do. This is the F we do. This. I feel like that's very, very disrespectful. You know.
He was being completely honest. Haliburton's dad went too far. Shaq still tried to make it seem like Giannis was just being dramatic. It was embarrassing. Let me explain. Game 5, Bucks versus Pacers. Final score, 119 to 118. Only 1.3 seconds left. Everyone's emotions were high. Players were giving each other props. Coaches were yelling out plays. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, Tyrese's dad, John Haliburton, rushed onto the court like he was about to shoot the game-winning shot. There was no security in sight. The guy just walked right up to Giannis.
He's not supposed to be on the
talked to
court.
him. It don't
He's
matter.
not supposed to be on the court.
Giannis talked to him. Forget all that.
No, he was on the court.
So what?
You think he said something? He probably know who his dad is.
Stop it. Giannis said something
No,
to him.
because he's on the court in his face.
So what? Everybody on the
you
court.
can't do that.
So you think his dad was correct?
No, his dad was 100% wrong.
Giannis is wrong?
Bro, Giannis said something to him.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
No, he not.
Look, right there.
No, his dad is coming up to him. What is
Giannis
his dad
talking
doing
to
on
him.
the court?
Giannis
His dad is not supposed to be on the court.
His dad is
You can
always
yell
on the
as
court
much as you
every
want
game.
to. He's an idiot. If you think that's why you're an idiot.
Who's standing there, upset, hands on his hips, trying to handle the loss? And what does his dad do? He pushes a towel into Giannis's face. Not just any towel, but one with a big picture of his son on it, saying wild stuff like, "This is what we do. This is what we freaking do." Who even does that?
I don't care. He's always on the
He
court.
should not be
Giannis
on the
said
court
something
talking to other players.
Bro, Giannis said something to him. He didn't say
came up
nothing
to
to Giannis.
Giannis.
No, he did not.
No, that's not true. He couldn't have
walking
said
in the
anything
line
to
behind
him.
his son. No,
He
no.
should. What do you mean walking in line behind his son?
walking
He shouldn't be
around
on the
behind
court. He didn't play in the game.
Always on the court.
No, he shouldn't.
Giannis was surprised and didn't see it coming. At first, he even said, "I thought he was just a fan." But when he realized it was Tyrese's dad, the disrespect felt way worse. Don't get it wrong, Giannis wanted to talk more about it. But he knew if he did, the NBA would step in. He said, "I don't want to share everything. I'm not trying to be a snitch." So yeah, this wasn't just some normal trash talk. It was major disrespect in front of millions of people. He's from a tough background, and if he really said what happened, it would have been serious. Giannis wasn't just upset. He was giving a warning. That line? It was basically a warning about legal trouble. It hinted at court cases, maybe even league suspensions. He didn't make a big deal about it, but let's not pretend that comment wasn't intense. This was way more serious than just normal NBA drama. Now here's where it gets crazy. While most people were criticizing Haliburton's dad for acting like a wild fan, Shaq went on national TV and actually defended him.
I think it's the emotions of the game just got excited there. But I talked with him. I'll talk with Giannis eventually about it. Just, I don't think that my pops was in the right at all there. And unfortunate, what happened in the end there. But, but I think we had a conversation, and I think he just needs to just allow me to just play basketball, stay over there. I'll come to him to celebrate.
On Inside the NBA, Shaq said, "John is always on the court." He was talking about how John was celebrating again. Then Shaq went further and called Giannis soft for getting upset. He even said it was silly for anyone to feel offended by a dad getting excited for real. That's when the internet fired back. Fans came after Shaq like never before. The comment sections were blowing up. Even Tyrese kept it real. He told the media, "I don't think my dad was right at all." He didn't try to cover anything up. Tyrese also said, "He needs to let me play and stay in his seat. I'll come to him if we win." That's real talk. Tyrese acted like a grown-up. He didn't defend the drama, just spoke honestly. The Pacers didn't waste time. They told John Haliburton he's banned from all home and away games for now. And guess what? He agreed. No complaints, no drama. Just accepted it. Imagine not being allowed to watch your own son play basketball in person. That's how serious this got, but it gets even crazier. Most people missed this part, but if you really watch the game footage closely, something wild might have happened. People say Tyrese's mom may have hit Giannis. Yep, viewers saw a moment where the woman sitting right behind John looked like she lightly tapped Giannis during the chaos. That wasn't just cheering. Was it on purpose? No one really knows. Let's be real. If this had been anyone else's mom, the headlines would have gone crazy with stories about family drama and Giannis. And even after all that happened, Giannis still gave a thumbs up to John Haliburton as he walked off the court. That's real self-control. He stayed calm and respectful even after getting mocked and disrespected right after losing a playoff game. And no, it didn't end there. The next night, Shaq doubled down on his take like he was ready for a fight on Inside the NBA. Ernie asked him nicely to explain why he kept defending Haliburton's wild actions instead of backing off. But Shaq got loud and defensive. Like he was being personally attacked, Chuck and Kenny tried to step in and calm things down, but Shaq just kept talking over everyone, like he always does when he knows he's wrong but won't admit it. Even Ernie looked annoyed, like, is Shaq really out here defending someone storming the court during a playoff game? That's a wild hill to die on. And the internet? They clapped back instantly. One person said, "Not even sure what Shaq's trying to prove. Everyone knows Haliburton's dad was wrong. What is Shaq even defending?" Another said, "Shaq's ego is way too big. He's not defending the dad, he's just trying to check Giannis for showing emotion." But the coldest comment? Shaq loud and wrong as usual. If Giannis had kicked Haliburton's dad, everyone would have said he shouldn't have been on the court. He's a fan. Reddit, Twitter, YouTube. People were calling Shaq out everywhere. Then folks started pulling up receipts. Remember when Shaq said he punched 5 people on 6 different teams during his career? That clip came back fast. People were like, how can Shaq talk about overreacting when he did that? But Giannis? He didn't go on social media. He didn't trash talk on TV. He just waited and calmly said, "Being humble doesn't mean being silent." Boom. Now people are saying maybe Giannis is letting the league know, you're not running this anymore. Stop defending nonsense. Let's not forget, Shaq once said Giannis was better than he ever was at 24. The internet never let that go. As soon as Shaq said it, he tried to backtrack like, well, you need to see more. I'm not saying he's better than me. So what were you saying, Shaq? Fast forward, Giannis is a Finals MVP, 2-time league MVP, and known for being one of the classiest players in the NBA. And Shaq? He's been salty ever since. Fans see it, too. One even posted, "Shaq needs help." That take was so wrong. At this point, it's not about Haliburton's dad anymore. It's just jealousy. Shaq's been throwing shade for a while. Meanwhile, Giannis has kept quiet, trying to stay respectful. But let's be honest, he's been holding back for years, always the bigger person, always focused on the game, never starting drama online. But now, he's done staying quiet. That moment with Haliburton's dad, it wasn't just a fan stepping on the court, it felt personal. Let's go back to 2021. When the Bucks won the championship, Giannis dropped 50 points in the final game. And what did the media say? He got lucky. It was a fluke. He only won because KD's foot was too big. That's wild disrespect. People keep poking at Giannis like he's soft. But don't forget where he came from. He once said, "I come from the hood. I don't want to be a snitch." That hit deep. That wasn't PR-trained Giannis. That was real Giannis. The same kid who sold watches on the street, who shared one bed with his brothers, who had to share one pair of sneakers with Thanasis because they couldn't afford another pair. Back in Greece, he fought poverty, racism, and immigration threats. And still made it out. Still became a star. Still stayed respectful through all the hate. So when Giannis said, "If I speak on what happened, there will be lawsuits," he meant it. That wasn't for show. That was a warning. Whatever Haliburton's dad said or did, it wasn't just disrespect, it was serious. Some fans even think there were racial slurs involved, and honestly, at this point, that wouldn't even be surprising. But here's the craziest part. No fines, no official statement, no change to security rules. Nothing. If this was just a random fan rushing the court and getting in a star player's face, he'd be banned for life. No questions asked. But since it was a player's dad, the league just ignored it like it never happened. Now imagine if Giannis had been the one to react. What if he pushed John Haliburton, or even just raised his voice? Would the media still call him classy? No way. ESPN, Fox Sports, Bleacher Report, they'd be tearing him apart nonstop. And this is where Shaq's logic doesn't make sense. Shaq has a history of fighting. He admitted to punching 5 people across 6 different teams. But now, suddenly, Giannis shows emotion and he's the problem? Let's not forget Shaq made fun of JaVale McGee for months, had him trending just by being disrespectful. But when Charles Barkley made one joke about Shaq's weight, that was too far. That shows Shaq protects people who make him feel good and attacks anyone who threatens his legacy. This whole drama exposed something deeper. People are finally noticing how unfair the double standards are with these old-school NBA guys. Giannis gets criticized for being too quiet. Ja Morant gets hated for being too loud. Steph Curry gets dragged for being confident. LeBron gets bashed for being strategic. But Haliburton's dad acts like a child in a casino, and somehow, he gets a free pass? How does that make sense? This isn't passion. Miss me with that. You'd think people would move on by now. But nope. The whole Giannis versus Shaq versus Haliburton's family drama just keeps going. And the NBA staying quiet is only making it worse. Let's break it down. After the internet went in on him, Tyrese Haliburton's dad finally apologized publicly. He said, "I sincerely apologize to Giannis, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Pacers organization. This was not a good reflection on our sport or my son." Sounds nice, right? But fans didn't buy it. People pointed out this man stormed the court after a playoff loss, got in Giannis's face, waved a towel, and allegedly cursed at him on live TV. Now he wants to say, "Oops, my bad?" That's not real regret. That's a PR move. Let's be honest. The only reason he apologized is because the Pacers told him he's banned. Not just from home games, but all games. So was the apology real? Or just saving face? Fans already made up their minds. This whole situation also showed how soft the league has gotten with court security. Imagine if a regular fan had done that. They'd be tackled, arrested, and banned for life. But since It was a player's dad. All he got was a press statement and a voluntary break from games? That's not accountability. That's just a light slap on the wrist. And here's the real issue. If the NBA acts like this is no big deal, what happens when the next parent crosses the line? What if it turns physical next time? This isn't just about Giannis anymore. It's about protecting players and setting a clear standard. Because next time a fan or parent does something worse, people will point to this and say, well, Haliburton's dad did worse and nothing happened to him. Let's be real. Shaq isn't the icon he used to be. He's become the funny uncle on NBA TV. People still like him, but this whole thing showed another side of him. A side that defends bad behavior if it helps his own story. Since Giannis said he won't tell the full story, fans have been guessing. Some even think a racial slur was used, which could explain why Giannis mentioned coming from the hood. There are rumors the Bucks wanted to press charges, but Giannis told them to let it go. All this is speculation, but the NBA's silence is just fueling more rumors. This situation might finally force the league to make changes, like new rules for where player families can sit, stricter post-game rules, clear consequences when someone crosses that court line. If they don't act now, the message is clear. It's okay to run up on an NBA star and say whatever you want. And Giannis, he's watching everything. Let's look at what happened one last time. Giannis just lost a do-or-die playoff game. He's upset, standing alone. Out of nowhere, Haliburton's dad storms the court, mocks him with a towel, maybe even curses him out. Giannis didn't hit back, didn't yell. He stayed calm, but he made it clear. I'm not the one. Shaq backed the wrong person and doubled down. Tyrese admitted his dad messed up. The Pacers banned him. But the NBA? Quiet, like they're hoping it'll all just go away. But it won't. Because Giannis said what everyone was thinking. That was disrespectful. I'm from the hood. I don't want to snitch, but don't push me. And that got the whole league's attention.